Oh, man. Can you guys all hear?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll put my phone on silent.
Can you edit out the whistles because of my
Whittled?
false teeth?
Whittled?
I didn't wisp last time I was on here.
I look back, and the last time we had you here was September of 24.
Yep.
It was 2024. That has been a while. I couldn't believe it's been that long since we sat down at the
Doesn't seem like it's been that
Life
long.
Center and sat down. And at that time, you were still you were still in Arkansas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were in Arkansas then. I'm pretty sure. And then since then you've moved to Arizona. And at that time you were looking at getting into training Futurity horses.
Yeah.
And we can go back and reference that podcast if anybody wants to listen to that. I don't know which one it was, but you'll have to scroll back. I think it's about 4 back because I haven't done a whole lot of them since then. And but it was in September of 2024. And so what all has happened since then? And there's been quite a bit. What all has happened since then, and kind of just give us a rundown of moving out there and then everything that's went on to date.
Yeah, so, we were living in Arkansas, and I was actually having some real bad, skin issues. My skin was, falling off, basically, off my feet, my whole body. It was getting bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and anyway, me and my wife were trying to figure that out, and we were going to doctors, and they were putting me on, prednisone and all sorts of stuff, and it would go away for a day or two, but then it'd come back with a vengeance because it suppressed my immune system. And anyway, most people don't know this, but I'm pretty allergic to everything horse-related, like hay, all the stuff. It messes me up.
Oh, my gosh.
Turns out our house was full of mold. And so I was living in a moldy house.
In Arkansas?
In Arkansas.
Okay.
And I was looking I wasn't unhappy with life, but I was I've got to get changed. I got to be around people that can help me grow, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the only way the Lord was going to get me to Arizona, probably. Mm-hmm. So, long story short, I'm miserable. Having to not sleeping, working all day in the heat, and then I'd have to take cold showers at night until I'd shiver, so I'd stop itching. Nothing was working. Anyway, the same day we find out, or the week, I can't remember if it was day or not, we find out our house is moldy. We find out we're having our first son. So then we're like, well, I don't want my wife in a moldy house that's carrying her baby. And so we lived in Airbnbs and hotels for 3 months.
In Arizona?
In Arkansas.
Oh, in Arkansas.
Yeah, trying to find a place to train out of, live, rent, whatever. None of it was working, so I was like, shoot, I'm going to start looking in Arizona. I got to go out, and I had my first Futurity horse that I'd been working on. And I say that I've been working on it, from the time I started him, first ride, to the time it was time to show him was 13 months. And he was a racehorse off the track. And so that was a lot of work, but I poured everything into him to try to get him ready. This was my shot. Well, anyway, I was going to Arizona. I ended up meeting some good people, and they let me lease their place, and they had a friend that they just built a home, and it had a casita, and that's where we live now. And so that's kind of how we got to Arizona. We just lock, stock, and barrel packed up and went. I borrowed a 36-foot trailer because I brought 6 head out with my trailer, and then I borrowed a 36-foot trailer, and we had 6 horses, 17 head of steers, a pig, 2 dogs, and a cat. Loaded up in that thing with my 3/4-ton truck, and I drove it straight to Arizona. Unloaded them. We were open those steers the next day. Yeah, that's kind of. I just got. I mean, it was a lot of crazy stuff that happened, but we ended up moving, and
I had no idea about the skin deal. Did you know?
I did, but I forgot. I forgot about all that.
I'll have to show you some pictures. You want to it's gruesome, burn victim looking.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, and I think that mold deal's more prevalent than people think. I know my sister had to go through some stuff with that, and that's pretty crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never mentioned that, and I did not know. I just figured you went back out there to get in the roping circle, and it was all easy peasy.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, hadn't been easy.
When I talked to him about all that, the moving part, he said that his wife said, "Don't come back home. Just call me when you find a place to live."
She did say that.
Yeah.
So
She said, "Don't come home until we have a place to live." That was what she. And there was a spot at the end where one of my good friends in Arkansas, they let us. We lived with them like in a spare bedroom for a little while, and that was very gracious of them. But I was living 45 minutes from my horses, so I'd drive 45 minutes, and then I was trying to get in the futurity world. So my buddy Luke Atchison lived in Morrilton, so I'd drive 45 minutes home, feed, load horses, and then drive an hour and 20 minutes to his place, rope all day, drive back, and then back to Greenbrier. So I'd get up, butt crack of dawn, and because I wanted to, I wanted to learn, and it was like the first person I knew that really would give me a chance to go learn. And so I don't know, it didn't bother me a bit. I liked it.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I didn't know anything about that.
yeah, I remember now that he mentioned it, but
Yeah. And you've been out there now for how long?
Just over a year.
Over a year.
Yep.
And then I know you've went out there and seen him, right?
yeah.
And so you're out there a year now, and you're currently training futurity horses. And so what's it been like so far? How many futurities have you went to, and what's that looking like?
Oh, it's been fun. My business partner and I, we kind of jumped in head first. He believed in me. I'd rode a horse or two for him. And he's kind of one of those guys that when he gets a feeling, he just dives in, and I'm that way too. And it all started with this roan mare that you saw the other day. Saw her on Facebook. She was a cutter, and I just watched her, and I was like, she don't want to cut a cow. She didn't have that sting, And I liked how when she did hit the ground, how she did it. And so I bought her over the phone, and I'd never done that, but especially without my money, and brought her home, and we showed her the first year a little bit, and she had some bad luck. We had a couple good chances and for good money, and had her break out, or I'd rope a leg or slip a leg, but she was just green, and I felt like I was kind of getting by. And that being said, we bought her in the middle of May or 1st of June, and we were trying to show her in August. And she was a cutter and didn't have it, pick her shoulders up, neck rein, and so, and that was kind of rushing it. But my business partner was like, look, I don't care. I don't care what it costs. You got to be there. You got to rub shoulders with those guys. Don't be scared to lose. And I'm like, that helped me grow a lot because I did want to show up and kick butt, but then I realized that it's okay not to kick butt. It's okay to go learn and study it and figure it out. And so that first year I didn't win a whole lot. I won. I borrowed his head horse and I won the 13 heading on him with a kid that was undernumbered, that I had found. And we split 40,000 at the Riata, and then I won some on the guy that the first place I was at in Arizona, keeping my horses. We bought a mare, and I won 7,800 on her as a 3-year-old. That was a good mare. And then this year we went to Buckeye, Scottsdale, Oklahoma City for the Old West Futurity, and then just Ardmore. And that roan mare that I was talking about, we won just around 21,000. And so it's been really cool, to see her get better and better. And, we've got embryos out of her. We've got all sorts of breeding going on and stuff going in recips right now. And it's a full-fledged deal, but it's fun like that. But she was the start. She was kind of the, she's the foundation of kind of what we were going after. And I decided early on that if I was going to make, if we were going to make this business work, I didn't need to ride a lot of geldings because you're one and done. Mm-hmm. You can show them, and if they're great, show them, but be looking to sell them at all times. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to find the mares and the studs, especially the mares that I could build a breeding program off of, that I could be proud of. Not just buying bloodlines. I wanted to buy individuals, and I wanted to buy horses with ability that could win and also produce. Mm-hmm. And not just produce for me, but could produce for some guy that wants a horse that has all this resume, or their mom does, but it also has a good enough mind that they can ride it. Maybe it doesn't make the top show horse for me, but it's a horse that someone can trust and go enjoy. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we've been building our program on, and it's been fun. Like I enjoy it. I knew the first Futurity I went to this last year, like, because I'd been praying about it and like trying to figure stuff out, and I was like, this is exactly where I need to be, because I had jackpotted, and I love jackpot and all that stuff, but for one of the first times in my life, like, I felt like I was fulfilling my purpose in life, and that's to show horses. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a fun journey, and I'm just getting started.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And then you came back here. Before you were here, you were at Ardmore?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were at Ardmore at a Futurity? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you just completed a 2-day clinic.
Yes, sir.
Here. And now, are clinics something you're going to try to do some of, or do you want to do some of them more, or what's your outlook on that?
Yeah, I mean, I like clinics and I like teaching people. I've always had a hard time because I focus more on some of the stuff that people don't necessarily want to focus on in the team roping world, which is the horsemanship side, slowing it down. What's your horse thinking? How do we get him to work better without cramming it down his throat, you know?
Yes.
And so I think it kind of turns some people off. I do like it, and I mean, if people were interested in like hosting me, I'd definitely do it anywhere.
Yes. On
a free weekend or a weekday, I don't care. But
yes.
But yeah, like, I just hadn't had as much interest as I'd like, but I think eventually, like, it can grow, and that's something that I'll do, and I do enjoy it, you know.
Yeah.
I enjoy helping people. And
I went over and shot some footage yesterday over there, and you guys had a handful of ropers over there yesterday working, and Chris was in it too, mm-hmm. and I was really impressed. Everybody made a lot of headway. Excuse me. Everybody made a lot of headway, and I thought the horses done great, and the emphasis on horsemanship was outstanding. And it is a different look and different perspective. I've been to team roping clinics in the past, and and that's not taking anything away from them, but it is just a different perspective. And this podcast is Changing Eyes, mm-hmm. and it is definitely a different perspective.
Yeah.
Definitely the way you handle it and look at it, and I look at it as more simple, but effective.
Right.
And I highly recommend it if anybody out there wants to get better at their horsemanship and their horse rider relationship in the team roping. Jayde does a good job, and Chris could probably attest to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's been a blessing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been looking for somebody like him, and podcasts what kind of linked us. Yep. The first podcast you ever did, I listened to it almost the same time Jason listened to it, mm-hmm. and my son Jordan also did. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember. I think Jason might have brought it up first, and he said, "Did you listen to that podcast with Jayde Slayde?" I said, "Yes," and he goes, "That's your guy." And yeah. Jordan, I think, said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I sent you a message through your website or something, and I didn't get a response, and I thought, oh, he's one of those guys. and then you messaged me back, and you said, I don't check this very often. And then it was on after that, yeah, I think. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. And we can kind of try to put a link or something in the description or something somehow to get you hooked up, or you can tell them how to contact you if you have some way you prefer.
You can call me. my phone number is on my Facebook and Instagram, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
You can message me on Facebook or Instagram. That's probably the best way.
And what's your Facebook?
Just Jayde Slayde.
Jayde Slayde.
Yep.
And your Instagram?
Same thing.
For the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because I'm told that Facebook is out now, and it's for old people, and Instagram
That's
is
my favorite app.
Yeah. Is the young people. And then if you're real young, I guess it's TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a few things here that, and you've not read this, you've not even seen it. I'm going to put my glasses on so Chris can make fun of me because I'm old. And but I've got a few topics here I want to talk about. And so it's basically having to do with the evolution of the futurity industry. And we'll discuss a little bit how the explosion of the futurity space with the projected 2026 earnings for the 4-year-olds exceeding 5.8 million. How has it changed the market for both trainers and breeders?
Well, that's a big question. I feel like so there's some guys in Utah that were shards and I mean I'm missing a lot of guys, but they're doing a really good job for the industry to make these horses worth more, you know, because like Ren just did a podcast where he said, you know, we were getting a really good price for our 3 or 4 year olds. You know, like someone would pay $150,000 for them, and but they wanted to but the most they could win at a futurity was $25,000. Like the highest paying one for the year is $25,000. So we're like, well, how do we get more money in there? And I mean, they go in and describe all that, but I feel like they're doing a really good job of putting more money in the rope horse futurity world because, I mean, if you look at it, it makes a rope horse more valuable. Like, and it makes the breeding of rope horses more valuable. I mean, they've done it in the cutting, they've done it in the cow horse, they've done it in the reining, you know. And then the rope horse was just something along all those lines that someone decided, oh, it isn't gonna make it, we're gonna rope on it. Well, now more than ever, we're breeding for rope horses. Like that heel horse that I've got, I think she's a head horse producer. I'm not even breeding her to heel horses. You know, what I would say a heel horse sire. Because I think she's cold enough, and I think if I breed her to another running bred horse, like, they're worth a lot of money. So that's kind of like now more than ever, people are breeding to have rope horses, like horses that are bred to rope. Like, and they're probably a little more north and south, like what we talked about.
Yes.
Because that's what we need mainly. But I think it opens the door for a lot of people, and I know. For example, like they're doing a really good job of trying to get like more of the non-pros where they can go rope and compete for a lot of money. It's not just the open guys. And I think that's pretty cool too because everybody can rope at a certain level. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not, it's going to be competitive, but they have a chance to go show their horse. Like if Chris wanted to show Waylon, like he could go show him and have a chance to win 15, 20,000 or more. You know, I could see the non-pro deal being as big as any team roping event out there. And so, which is smart, I think, business-wise, because those are the guys with the most amount of money, you know, so they want to be able to play too, not just pay a guy to play. And I don't know, that's kind of where I see it going. And I think now more than ever, it's important to breed horses with the mind and ability and not worry so much. I still worry. Like, I want them to be open level horses, but you and I both know that it's a small percentage, you know. But breed horses that still have a direction in the futurity world that may not necessarily be your top end, but they still have a lot of value. They're not just a throwaway. They're actually, hey, like, we can train this horse to be the best number 12 down horse out there. He's pretty, he's gentle.
Yes.
And these guys can win a lot of money on him, so they will pay for it. You know, it's not just buying the race car. You know, they're buying something that fits them.
And there's, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later. There's other places they can go, other than just a futurity.
Yep.
So another point here is the speeding up the learning curve. The the shift from traditional belief that horses don't really get good until they're about 10 years old to the modern Futurity system that uses specialized breeding to create a more competitive horse at a much younger age. And maybe talk a little bit how not only training techniques, but how breeding does make a big difference, especially like the mare I watched you ride 2 days ago and yesterday in here.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, when they're bred to do it, like, honestly, you just need to show them. You know what I mean? It's not you're not trying to polish a turd and get them to be a shiny one. Like, they're already shiny. You just gotta knock some dirt off. You know?
Yes.
And so I think the breeding's so important, and that was something my dad's always been infatuated with. And we didn't have the money to get into what everybody else had, but we found something that really worked for us. You know, and we had the open, we had the pretty and gentle that were still talented, but not as talented, and you know, I was able to kind of see that and see how important it was to a program. And so now that's what I chase. Like, I don't go out and just buy just the papers. I'm going to buy the individual that also that's gifted, you know. I'm going to buy the horse that's gifted, but I'm also going to buy the horse that maybe has no holes in his papers or you know, in the genetic lines of winners. But then there's sometimes, like, you know as well as I do, when they've got it, they've got it. You know, like that mare that you watched me ride, I would venture to say that very few of her lines are, like, well known. You know, I mean, they're known, but like great grandson, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of bred out.
Yes.
So I don't know, the breeding, and then another thing, like, some of these racehorse colts, like, they look like they're 10 years old by the time they're 3.
Yes.
And that's deceiving too, because you can go too hard too fast, and then you ain't got a horse.
Yes.
So I don't know. You're always playing the game of too much, not enough, and just because they look like they can handle it doesn't mean they can.
Yes, and I think we will definitely touch into that here in a bit too. Yeah. On the judged versus timed, for someone from the outside looking in, a lot of people aren't used to, you know, they've always roped, and possibly when this first started up, they went, oh, you know, great, we have Rope Horse Futurities now, and they've entered their horses, and they really might not know what the judges are looking for on this. And so how did that play out in the beginning? How is it playing out from what you have seen? And what can you elaborate on the scoring system on, like, for instance, on the corner from turning the steer, the turn on a rodeo run, on how the steer is handled versus on how the steer is handled from a heading perspective on the judge side.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like it's making people be a lot more intentional with their horses, or at least striving to be. And then, you know, you think about, like, the judging, you know, they're going to judge you when you're walking in the box. And usually they say when the horse's butt hits the corner is when the judging really starts.
Okay.
And it's kind of different everywhere. Some people want to see them walk in flat and quiet all the time. Some of them, they can kind of move around, but if they get in the corner and they get solid and steady and just standing between the reins, like, they'll judge it like, say, 0's even. And I'm just kind of throwing out numbers. You can +1, +2, +3, all the way to, like, +4, and then it'll go down the same way. So if they're just good, like middle of the road, they're probably 0 or 1. If they bobble, they're -1, you know, so there's a baseline. And then if they're exceptional, they're all pluses or minuses. But I would say, like, coming in, like, where they're scoring, like, say the handle when a head horse runs up there to a cow, they're gonna judge the running rate. So how fast how good did that horse score and leave the box? Did he leave flat? Whatever, you're gonna be judged there. When he runs to a cow, how much intention did he have? Was he magnetized to the cow? Did he rate well? And then they want to see, like, control, you know. So most of the cattle at the Futurities are relatively pretty fresh. Okay. And so you run up and rope, and you, like a rodeo run, you're not trying to duck them back for your guy to heel them as fast as possible. You're trying to stand them up and make those horses look in control but powerful. Mm-hmm. And so you'll be judged there. And then the pull and face, you're going to be judged as well. But in comparison to a rodeo run, like the Futurity, you got to keep the cow rolling. Like, you don't want to kill him off. Like, I don't want people to get misconceived, like they're over breaking them down and the cows are slowing down. Like, it's full contact. But if anybody that's roped quite a bit knows, like the fresher steers, you have to be a little more patient and stand them up to keep them on their feet. And they want to see that. They want to see a 1,300-pound horse look like he is moving around like a cat and using himself with so much athletic ability. And you're going to score better. And the cow handles good. Your healer can heal him faster. And that's where the time plays a factor at the Futurity, you know, because the longer you are, the less points you'll get too. But you ain't got a rodeo run them. You want to be a 7-8 second, like middle of the row run.
Okay.
Where it keeps your points consistent. You know what I mean? If you draw a good one, be 6 on him. But don't skip a step trying to be 6. You know, whereas like a rodeo, your horse can be stepping out and you can stick him and your healer heals him and you go 5 flat and it looks really good. But they don't want to see a horse fading. They don't want to see a horse, you know, covering them up and you're having to pull them off. They want to see how good that horse can do his job with as little effort from you as possible. So, I mean, that's kind of the difference, because rodeo, you can just kind of hold them and they can wiggle around and go across the line, because all it matters is how fast you are to win, you know. So there's been a lot of great horses throughout the years that did not look that perfect, but they let those guys win every single time. And for the Futurity world, like, it's a show. Like, you're looking for your horse to wow the judges. You're looking for them to grab their attention. And some of them, I will say, I think there's some Futurity horses out there that probably are just better show horses than they would be in the rodeo world.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying I think a lot of those horses will go on the rodeo world and be phenomenal, but I think some of them have such good eye appeal that they are always going to show better than they probably are practical.
I see.
In some ways. Now,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and they could be a little slower or whatever, and so maybe they're not an open jackpot horse, but they're still like a great 12-point. But at the Futurity, they could score so good, and they were so good-minded. If you can hit the barrier and use your horse to the max capacity, you're going to win a lot of money, you know, on that horse. But then he's probably going to go on and be for somebody that wants just a really nice jackpot horse, you know, that's middle of the row. So, and that's just because he had such great eye appeal. He was still going to win.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. All right. That's good stuff, and especially for people that aren't familiar with it, because this is all new. I mean, it is new. It's kind of like in our world in the ranch riding. It's new. It's still trying to evolve and find out what the judges want to see.
Yep.
I mean, it's relatively new. All right, we're going to skip over to the technical and the training and maybe some drills and stuff, and talk a little bit about the training. What are we don't have to dive a lot into horse training too deep, because we would. And maybe some, you know, and everybody, no one talks a lot about this stuff, but, and I don't know really why, but because I could listen to training stuff all day long, but maybe some stuff on drills, and you can call them drills or techniques, to ensure that a horse listens, and not only listens, but reads a cow, maintains correct frame and position, especially at the slow speeds before working cows, you know, at full contact and live speeds. And over the years, and I know we've already talked a little bit about this, but there's so much that can be done pretty much full contact before you ever go in that box. And even backing it up further, there's so much handle that can be put on your horse between shoulder control, stopping, just getting your horse broke in general, and then blending that in to the dummy, and then pin roping, stuff on a cow, just connection to a cow, and we still not made it to the box yet.
Yep.
So talk about maybe a few of those things. You don't have to get into big detail. You can if you want. It doesn't matter to me. I like it all. I'm sure Chris likes it. We all like it, but go with it however you want there, whatever you want to elaborate on there.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I mean, I grew up figuring all that stuff out probably the hard way, you know, like I can think of multiple horses that I put the first ride on and I was heeling steers on them in 30 days. Like, they probably weren't the best horses, but I learned a lot, you know, and then I'd have a gifted one that just would show me. I was like, hey, I know I didn't teach him this. Like, he can do some cool stuff. And then I think just over time it's evolved. I don't know. I want a horse to genuinely like their job, and I get that not all of them probably do, but I want them to like me enough, or at least respect me enough to want to please me, you know, and do the job. So I think for me, I take a lot of time, and I'm still, you know, navigating all this, but I take a lot of time wanting that horse magnetized to a cow, and not just like, I say that, and some people will deceive it as like, oh, he's cowy. You know, he'll pin his ears and run to one. And I'm like, yeah, but he's running sideways, gnawing at him. Like, I can't have that. That's not fun to rope on, you know, all the stuff. And so, like you said, it's more for me, and I'm learning, and I might have said this in the last podcast, but Miles Baker told me the most important thing I've ever learned. And it was in one word. And it was when I was scared to death to talk to anybody. Halfway still am. I'm working through it. But one of the most important things he ever told me, because I asked him, what was that? And he said, balance. And I try to achieve that every single day I'm training a horse. And every horse is different how I achieve it. Because if they're not balanced, I can't teach them to do squat. I can teach them a pattern. But I cannot teach them how to be physical, how to use their body correctly, and what I deem correct, you know, driving from their hind end, shoulders up, you know, being able to be aggressive and use their hocks and be light in the front to move whatever direction I need them to, and be willing to do it at the drop of a hat. Like, if they're unbalanced and they're leaning one way and I go to, like, correct them, like, it takes a long time for them to get back, and we need them now.
Yes.
And that's something that Miles and Trevor's horses are excellent at. When they're running to a cow and they move their hand to the left, that sucker frames up, steps left, lets them stick, stands them up. And it's poetry in motion. You know, you watch that horse and you're like, man, I don't know if he could have done that any more balanced. I don't know if he could have done that any more purposeful, you know? And so for me, that's really the biggest thing I try to achieve. Magnetized to a cow and balanced. If I can get those two things, I can teach them to do about anything. If they're comfortable with the critique and being balanced and being a good enough horseman to know, like, not trying to force balance, I'm trying to show you how to carry yourself properly so I don't have to hold you there. And then when I drop my hand, it's your job to get to that cow and get to him right now. And I say that, but it's get to him. When I'm training them like a baby, it's like, just get to him, you know, and the further along they get, the more strong they get. I need you to get there, you know, now. And then when I pick up my hand and we're done, you're done. Like, and have peace in that. So I don't know, like, I could talk on and on about what I do to get those horses to do it. But that's my main goal, is balance and magnetism.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, you got any questions on that, Chris?
Well, you know, the sorrel mare, I was telling him this right before we got here. You know, I watched him, like, that horse never been headed off of.
No.
Before the clinic.
Never been a head box.
And he headed a handful yesterday. And because we were a little uneven on headers today, he headed more. And by the end, like, he could have lied to somebody and said that was a finished horse. I mean, he looked good. I mean, really good. And it was just impressive. Like, it didn't, like, he wasn't running the slow ones all the time. Like, he was running fresh ones. And the horse he handled all of it. I mean, he handled it, and he prepared him to be able to handle all of that. And that was pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, and that horse is stingy, like that horse is feely and it's gifted, but I don't know. I feel like when you achieve those two things, coming out of the box is the easiest thing you're going to do, one of the hardest things, like for a head horse is to stand there like a statue and score them out and really run. But when they're comfortable with all that other pressure, it's a lot easier to get them to stand like a statue because you're not bothering them outside of the box, because that's where all the problems come. Inside the box is when you've bothered them so much to the outside, or they've got pain or something that's coming into play. But yeah, I don't know. Like that's another thing. Just like I said, buying one that's gifted and honestly knowing what you can ride. Because if you can buy a gifted one and you ride him like terrible, he's gonna look terrible, and they just get worse and worse. So because I think they have an inner desire to be great, and we're not letting them, And so that's where a lot of frustration comes in for a horse as well. So
we get in their way.
Yep.
All right. That was pretty good on the training, and I love the balance. Another thing is being able to get those horses to liven up without tightening up.
Yep.
Yeah. One of my mentors uses that a lot.
Well, and that, that's stuff that I'm always, like I said, I'm learning, and always trying to learn. Like, people can say that I do a good job at it, but I always feel like I always feel some tightening up. I always feel, and so that's the most intriguing part to me about doing the Futurity deal and doing it the way I want to do it is I kind of want to do it different, and I kind of want to do it in a way that it's uncommon, because it's what intrigues me. I'm not trying to make 50 horses go win the Futurity. I want to make the great ones that I have the best that they can be and go place and win. Yeah, I want to win. Like, I'm a very competitive person, but I'm not the kind of guy that's going to do it to jeopardize. I'm not going to try to win and jeopardize my horse's mind or his body. Now, I'm going to use them, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not scared to use a horse, but I don't want to do anything that hinders that horse's ability to tell me something, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. All right. We'll talk about a little bit of longevity and mental management on the horses. And I've talked to people before in our industry a little bit about the importance of having a better-minded horse versus one that can sometimes be so hot he takes more riding. And where that comes into effect later, that sometimes you have to ride him so much that you risk soundness problems.
Yep.
And even though they're a good horse, it ends up biting you later because of that. And some horses, you might discuss, how some of them can handle the pressure early, and some that just take more time, and then some of them, that may be better minded, you can ride them a little less and preserve that, because we are talking about Futurity horses, so they are growing and they're younger, and you can ride them a little bit less, and you're still getting your job done, but it preserves that body, especially while they're growing a little bit.
Yeah, I would say, like, for example, the roan mare. And for anybody who's wondering, it's a metallic hot mess. She's an own daughter metallic cat out of a daughter pet but bone small, and so when I first started, like, I wanted to win, I was like, man, I got to get her ready. I've got to, like, I had all these goals, and I still do. And I rode her, like, I wouldn't say, like, trying to kill her, but I rode her every day. I wanted to help her get better, and she had a good enough mind. Like, she always tries for me, and she was a cutter before, so I know she got rode hard, and especially because she wasn't like top tier cutter. Like, I felt like maybe you had to kind of, I wouldn't say bully her, but you kind of had to, like, try to spice her up to get her to be really reactive on a cow, And so I knew that coming in. And over the year, like riding her, I started just feeling like, man, she's kind of stiff today, and I kind of ignore it and maybe flex her more, do whatever. And I'm really diligent at like taking her to the vet, making sure her shoeing's proper, because that's a big thing too. People let that go, push too far without trying to understand their body's growing, And I started figuring out with that mare once I got her pretty proficient at her job, where it was just fine tuning. She's a 3-day-a-weeker.
Okay.
Healing steers. I'll ride her 5-6 days. But the days I'm riding her, we might take her down the street, long trot for a minute, just let her see, like almost season her just by not doing anything. Keep her exercising. I think that's important, especially those young horses and anything or anybody. Like the better stuff stays in shape, the better sound they are.
Yes. Yes.
And I do see it the other way. I see people trying to grow them so fast, and they see big and strong, but then they start treating them like they're big and strong, and they'll cripple them because their body can't recover. Their body's thinking about growing. They're weak, technically. And so that's kind of changed my program a little bit. Like, say, with her, is I would rather rope on her 3 days a week. And now I know she's pretty proficient at her job, so I might only run 2 steers full contact, and I might run 3 that walk and just let her relax, because my whole goal is to her to be mentally sound and physically sound.
Yes.
And if she's not physically sound, it's really hard for one to stay together mentally.
Yes.
And so I'm always trying to figure out what they need, supplements-wise, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, feed. Like, you can ask Chris. I don't think those things, if they didn't have feed in front of them, it's because I was on their back. Yeah. Because I want them to be as strong and be able to recover as fast as possible. And there are other horses, like I've got some other ones that do need road every day for their mind. They're so wired tight. But I found that it's not I'm not necessarily trying to get them tired. I'm trying to get into their mind. And how does that work? I have some of them. I send my loper off down the street. It has nothing to do with Rena. I say, don't touch his head. Go trot him. And when you feel him go, bring him back to me. And then I'll lope him, soften him up, run 2 or 3, 4, maybe 15. I don't know, whatever it takes. But usually I'll say that too when I'm running 15. You can ask Chris. Like, I sent him, probably 10, 15 videos of your horse. And he wasn't sweaty. No. Because my cows are set up to build confidence, not necessarily get 110. And I have some in there that'll ask them for 110. But for the most part, if I can get them to do it correct slow and build into that, if they'll give it to me 2, 3 times in a row, full contact, that's all I need. It's not, don't keep running them to get them out of wind. And I've done it. I've done it in the last year because, frustration sets in, or your own selfish desires come in and you want to get more. And then you take a step. I usually feel terrible after I do that. I get off that horse, I brush him, or I send him with a loper, and I'm like, I sit on the next one. I'm like, man, you're an idiot. But and I think it's that way because I care. I don't think, man, that horse is just a pile. I think, well, maybe he is hurt. Maybe he needs a chiropractor. Maybe I need to change his shoeing a little bit. Whatever it may be. And I feel like that's really benefited my horse and my program. Like that mare, I feel like in the last 3.5 months since we started showing this year, I've learned so much about her. And I think I don't know. I've been going to all these shows with 1, maybe 2 horses, and all over, like driving 20 hours. But it's helped me be really considerate of the one and figure out how to get her to win. Not make her win, but get her to win. And that's helped me become a better horseman and be able to develop a feel of like, hey, this horse is really trying hard for me. Like, how can I take good care of him, And I don't mean, I don't know, you can go buy all the gimmicks and and stuff. I'm not as big of a whiz on that. I'm more nutrition and like they are growing. So like if I do need to inject them or whatever, I started supplementing my mare recently with some new stuff, and I mean this mare is a different animal. Not stronger, not wilder, not anything else, but she's softer. She's more elastic. And I mean, it's just it's peptides, you know, it's nothing to like alter their mind or anything else, but it's helped their body recover faster. And I will say I noticed at the Futurity, she was better in the box. She was less nervous. She was less nervous riding around because she felt better. She knew she wasn't going to hurt when she was done. And I'm not saying they're all going to hurt or whatever, but what I am saying is it's really physical to have them as good as they are at a young age and expect them to stay good, you know? So I feel like it's really benefited me to learn nutrition, learn saddle fit, learn like the way the boots wrap the legs, you know, not just strap a boot on them and rock and roll. There's a lot more to it than that, you know, like even pressure all the way down from the top of the cannonbone down to the foot and the angles of the feet. And, you know, and I used to shoe horses, but like finding a guy that was way better than me and understood not just the hoof, but understood the whole body, game changer. Like when that guy started shoeing my horses from other, you know, his name's Ricky Quinn. When he started shoeing my horses, I guarantee you I saw 80% less inflammation in my horse's legs. My horses weren't unsound, but they were going to be, you know, and it wasn't bad shoeing. Like they were balanced, but we didn't understand necessarily the proper angle for that animal, you know, how it all ties together. And so, I don't know, it's all intriguing to me, and I really like learning that stuff and learning how to care for my horse, because I'll tell you right now, they will try way harder for you and do a way better job if you can learn how to care for them properly and their needs, because they can't talk to you. So
No.
So if he's stiff in the front end 5-6 days in a row, and then you know what I mean, you inject him, and then in 2 weeks he's stiff again, like there's probably something else going on. You know, is it muscle related? Is it like stress related, you know, where they're kind of halfway tying up, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it just opens the doors for a lot more avenues to help a horse be good. You know, like I bet you there's a high percentage of horses that were actually probably going to be great that someone couldn't understand what they needed, and they got deemed as a pile of junk. And so, I don't know, that stuff kind of gets me excited, because I feel like I'm not saying it gives me an edge, but it gives me a better avenue to be a good servant to my horses, you know, be a good, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what the word is.
Well, you just be a good advocate
Steward.
for him. Yeah, steward of the horse.
Steward. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I might have derailed there, but
No, we get sore too.
yeah.
I mean, we get uncomfortable, and it affects everything we do.
Well, in my old mentality when I was young is like, well, I'm hurt.
Yeah, you play hurt.
I play hurt. That's fine, you know. And then I watch, you know, other people that, you know, kind of played hurt, and then I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to be that way when I'm that age, you know.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and I'm all for working them hard.
Yeah.
You know, if they need road, they need road.
Yeah.
But learn how to care for them as hard as you're
That's
riding them.
exactly right.
Yeah, that's good.
Use them hard and take care for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So, Jason, I got something, and this is a little bit back to the show stuff and not necessarily training, but I mean, there may be people that don't really get the whole show deal, and I didn't understand this. You know, can you kind of walk somebody that doesn't understand it like me until you explained it, how the helper deal works?
Oh yeah, I mean, you pay a guy to head you or heel you steers. You know, it's not like you just meet up with a buddy, and you can bring a buddy and they can rope for you or whatever. But like, I pay guys that are really good to help me because they're going to give you the best odds to win. Like,
and you're saying So for everybody, when you go enter the Futurity,
you enter it for you and your horse.
So you're entered, say on the heeling end, and now you need a header to turn you a steer. So you hire a header to spin you steers. They're not judged. You are judged. But if they miss, you're a 0.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And so it's important to get a guy that is consistent, that's mounted, and can help you in a lot of ways. Like, I think a lot of those futurities are, well, I know they're made and broke on the guy helping a lot of the times. And so that's as big of an investment as your horse or your entry. Because if your help's stubbing their toe all the time, it's hard to win. And they're going to. Like, everybody's human. But I'll say I've had 2 helpers, Tate Kirkenslager and Brock Hansen. I think maybe I've heard the barrier ring one time, and they have spun every one of them. And so then it just turns like that's something out of my mind I don't worry about. If they stub their toe, I'm like 1 in 100. You know, just my
human.
odds weren't. My odds weren't there today. And they do an excellent job. And so for anybody out there wanting to show horses and stuff, like, make sure that you consider the investment to get a good helper, you know? And I'm not saying your buddy doesn't rope good. But you got to understand, like, the barriers are long. The cattle are strong. And you break a barrier, costing your guy 10 points. You know, that's a lot. So, or you miss, he's out. So I always, you know, make sure that you're accounting to pay the extra to pay those guys that are worth having you help, because, and eventually, like, I want to be one of those guys, but it takes a lot of horsepower. You're not going to show up with one head horse and help a bunch of guys. You'll be out of horse in half of the first round, you know? Like, I want to say Tate and Brock both have 6 or 7 tied up right there probably. And they run 2 or 3. They have a good system. They get off, get on the next one. And they have a helper stand there with a new rope on each horse, because you can't wind them, because you take it all out of them, you're not helping your guys, you're hindering them, you know? And so, I mean, it's as big an investment.
And they're good, solid son of guns.
Yes, they're going to catch them.
And those horses are good.
And those horses are good. And they, you know, they've learned how to take the pressure. And you're going to watch them, you go, well, that horse isn't as perfect and stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, no kidding. They got to run 15 in the first round, you know? So, like, people, you know, you got to understand, that's more like your rodeo horse look. Like, they need some grace. But the other thing is, those horses have to be legit enough to handle the cow. You know, and keep those fresh steers on their feet so your healer can still heal them and look good doing it. You know, they can't just jerk them away, reach and bomb out, because that's not sustainable.
And we're talking about a lot of money up for grabs.
Oh, man. Yeah, like, and it's paying 10 holes first, 25,000. You know, last hole's going to pay 3 or something, you know, so you're ahead of your fees. Like, it's not just a backyard jackpot where you go help your friends out, you know.
All right. We're going to go to the business part of it. What's a trainer look for in a futurity prospect? Breeding, conformation, cow sense. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And that's in a futurity prospect versus just a general rope horse for recreational use.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm looking for futurity prospects, and I'm picky, and I'm not the best picker in the world, but I've been lucky so far. Like, I keep picking what I think are pretty good.
And it probably depends on head horse, heel horse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want them all up in the front end. I can deal with a head horse being flat as long as he can use himself gracefully. You know, he's not pulling from the front. He's always driving from behind. I don't like one that's too high-headed naturally, because you got to think, like, I need him to get from here to there fast. And if they're wasting motion picking their head up, and that's not my pick. There's some good ones out there, and there's some that win the futurities. But I'm always trying to look for a horse. Well, it comes down to balance. Like, I want them balanced throughout their whole body. I want them to be able to low hawked. I want them to be able to drive up from behind. When I watch them lope in a pasture in a natural setting or in a round pen, I want to see some grace. Like, it's got to have eye appeal. That's half your battle. And breeding, I mean, you could you can go down a rabbit hole. Like I said, we're breeding that mare to winner's version, one-time honor, valiant hero, like a lot of off-the-track race horses, you know. But I've saw that a lot of those horses score good, run hard, really rated cow, and I've rode a few of them. And so that's kind of what I'm going for. And say that mare's a little thick, I want something I like an elastic horse. I don't necessarily like the bulkiest, strongest looking one. I like one that can really move around, like more of your gazelle over a rhino, you know.
What about height on your head horses and heel horses?
I'm a 15 hand like heel horse. Now I'll ride some smaller ones if they've got the ability and whatever, but I try to breed them all to be 15 hands, you know, because
either end.
Yeah, either end. But I would prefer my head horse to be 15 too, or taller. I like a tall head horse because it gives me the advantage heading the steer. You know, them Corianis are down running. Their horns are usually below their shoulders. If they're running with their head up, they're not running as hard as they can, you know, straight up in the air. And when I have that height advantage, it's easy for me to stick it to the horns, and I'm not having to get over my horse or get higher to make the run happen. And it's easier for them, you know, like they're big, and as long as they're athletic, like it's not hard to pull a 350 to 500 pound steer around, you know, and look good doing it. And my heel horses, like 15 hands is good because, well, and I say I breed for that because I can go either end, you know, they can break away. They can head, they can heel, they can run barrels. But if you're breeding for a 14-1, you know, your mare's 14-1 and your stud's 14-3, I'm like, well, you better plan on heeling on him, you know. And, you know, you always get the rare ones that get out to be a monster or something. But I like a more elastic looking horse, you know. The bulkier they are, I found that, I'm not saying they're not out there because I see them all the time, but I think very few can move as good as what a person needs them to. So, but they might be a great non-pro or everyday 8-point, 9-point to 12-point horse for a guy that, because they usually got a good mind, you know, some of those big bulky ones. So I don't know. I kind of think of a gazelle a little bit. Like, you ever watch Cheetah chase them? Like, they can pull out more moves than Michael Jackson. So I lean towards those, and I want to, obviously, if they naturally want to travel balanced, I lean towards them a little bit more. So
I've got another question. It's a world you're probably not in yet, but I'm in it. And I know there's a lot of others in it. So if this keeps growing and getting bigger and stuff like that, eventually you're going to have more clients, and they're going to rope. You're going to have non-pro roping clients.
Yep.
Have you thought much about that?
Actually, all the time.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about sell horses that are more non-pro general.
But like going to futurities.
And like helping them?
Yeah, they're going to show their futurity horses.
Yeah.
And I don't know what divisions I don't know how the divisions
work. So it's like
numbers.
It's like numbers. And then and don't count me on this, but I think they have an aged one too.
Yeah.
In the non-pro divisions, but like usually it's like 5 down or 4+ down or something.
Yeah.
And usually the horses are any age. So, you know, you might have an aged out horse, which it's probably going to be, if you've kept him the whole time, you'd have to have a pretty good non-pro. And they're out there. Don't get me wrong. There's some good horsemen out there that can rope the non-pro and really do it. And there's some special horses that can go up and down. But I've been thinking sell horses and non-pro horses, like, I don't know, just trying to find that horse that's got some look, you know, that's pretty, because it's eye appeal a lot. People want to ride something pretty. They don't want to show up on a beat up dink. But a horse that will score, run to the cow, and I call him probably my C+, maybe my B+ horse. I kind of want to produce a lot of those for people, and I've been looking to buy them, for people, and they're hard to find. That you can trust and someone can put in a barn and pet on.
And I'm wondering if you're going to see it more like the world I'm in, where they're actually going to keep the horses in training with you, and you're going to have non-pro amateur clients.
Yeah. I mean,
going to shows and say you'll take 3 headers and 3 heelers, and these horses they come and they're going to practice once a week.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I think you could definitely see that.
Some trainers don't, some trainers don't have non-pros.
Yeah.
And some trainers, they mostly handle non-pros.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the reining, there's some that they specialize in it.
Yeah.
And then some, they don't do any non-pros at all. They're just open.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that's something that you're looking into, or if you're going to be more geared towards maybe just open, and then having some that don't make the open and sell the horses as, jackpot horses or non-pro horses, but not have non-pro clients. I didn't know if that's something you would entertain.
I mean, right now I'd entertain them all. But, but I would like to say that I'm geared towards the open, but I also know, I mean, you kind of got to see how life takes you. I'm not against helping the non-pros as long as it's. I would have to find my people though.
Yeah.
I think I'd struggle with some of the stuff, some
Jason
of the people.
set you up.
And I'm a nice guy. I'm not saying I'd run people off, but like if it's cutting into my open horses a little bit where I'm like, man, I can't do both. Like I'm probably going to lean towards the open and figure out different ways to.
And there's some people that just they really do gear towards open. I mean, they're just open trainers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's most of your top open guys. They just solid.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't mind it. Like you said, like my business partner, he'll be in the non-pro, and I'll probably always have horses set up for him, and who
he
knows?
ropes too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think he'll like that. That guy's talented. Everything he does. And I think when he sets his mind to it, I think he's going to be a really good non-pro.
Awesome.
So I don't think I mind that, and I think there's probably quite a bit of money there. But like I said, I probably won't deal with the people that get like super needy or telling me what they think their horse needs over what I think they're like. I guess it's hard to not want to be taken as a professional, in some of those avenues, because you're like, look, I'm going to set you up for, like, I have your best interest in mind, but you've got to trust me.
Yes.
That's what we ask of our horses.
Yes.
And so if anybody does want to be a non-pro, like, always be considerate of your trainer. Like, do your homework, find the guy that's going to fit you, and then trust them, and if you don't trust them, why are you doing it? And I think that trust will build more value in relationships than just having some kind of a relationship where I pay to keep my horse.
Right.
I don't want to get to the point where they're bossing me around what to do with the horse. Like, I have a system, and I am always evolving, and I'm always changing, and I do it for the horse. I want to do it, and I'll do it for them too. Like, I'll give you all I got, but I got to know that we're on the same team. If not, I don't want to we can't have a relationship.
And one of the reasons I ask is some people aren't good teachers.
Right.
But I've watched you teach now, and you're a good teacher, and so you have that quality. And some people are good teachers, but they don't like to teach.
Yeah.
but you're a good teacher, and because I've watched you work with some people, and so you have to have that to be a non-pro coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of gotta like it a little bit, to do it. And because there's I could see the roping deal growing enough to where there's a need for that.
Well, I've heard that through the grapevine. I don't know if it's true or not, but that the non-pro could be bigger than Vegas eventually.
Wow.
Well,
like pay is good.
Well, I wouldn't see why not. I mean, aren't the number 9 ropings and stuff bigger than your open ropings?
Yeah.
Way bigger.
Like 400,000.
Yeah. And in the 14, you're open for 150.
Yeah. In my world, I mean, there was a horse show, just a little open show here a few weeks ago, and the novice amateur was giant and the open small. I mean, it typically, like you said earlier, the non-pros, they have the money and want to go compete.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I'll see where life takes me, but
Sure.
I always want to create a product that they can ride.
Absolutely.
And enjoy.
Yes.
Because that's important to me.
Yeah.
But I find that I'm one of those people that wants to be a high achiever in whatever I do. And it's kind of like Nick Saban said, like where he's coaching all these guys, and he's like, if we're not buying all into the same deal, like we cannot have a winning team or a winning relationship.
Yes.
Because high achievers don't like mediocre people, and mediocre people don't like high achievers.
That's right.
And it's hard to mesh the two. So I don't mind a non-pro. Like they can be a high achiever. Like I don't want to be misunderstood. Like you don't have to win the Open. Like Chris to me is a high achiever. He's always trying to learn. He's always trying to develop. He's always trying to get better. He's always trying to do what's best for his horse and learn how he can do what he needs for his horse. I can buy into that. But I have a hard time buying into the person that wants to buy the horse. I train it, and then they don't ever work at it. They don't show up, and they complain that Fluffy is loping too fast. And it's like, well, you haven't rode a horse in 6 months, and you want to go show? Like, fly a kite, dude. I want people to buy into a program of winners. I don't care if it's non-pro or open. I care for me, but I'd see just as much value and pride like watching Chris win as I win on a horse that I help train or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because that horse is probably reaching his full potential as well.
Yes.
Most of the time. Now, like I said, there's the elite few that can go up and down. But I like to see everybody buying into the same deal. Like, we're going to do the best for our horse. Like, I don't want to cut corners on trying to not put an extra bag of shavings in a stall because I don't think he needs it. Like, that's bullcrap. You need to want to buy into it all. And if the shoeing costs $250, like, don't complain about it because we're doing it for your horse. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to find the guy that can take care of your horse. Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like that's where I could have some friction with non-pros or even open guys. They might even be worse in some ways because they do care about winning. And so the elite will rise and the rest will fall way beyond the cracks.
And it is expensive.
It's expensive.
But getting into it, I mean, it is an expensive hobby, sport, whatever you want to call it. It is expensive. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is.
And I mean, I'm not made of money now, but I figure out the best way I can care for that horse to help him be as healthy as possible, and as physical as possible. And you don't have to go buy the top grain and the top, X, Y, and Z. Yes. You just have to know what your horse needs and give it to him. Like, if that's grazing him in the bar ditch for 2 hours, like that's what you're going to have to do. Yeah. And those horses can tell. They don't know, but they do know if you throw them in a concrete floor stall with one bag of shaving.
Yes. And they stock up.
And they're sore. Yep. Like they know. And they know you don't care. So if that means there's no tie outs, well, if you tie him up in a stall and feed him and water him, we'll take him out and go let him roll in the arena and, whatever you've got to do to take that extra effort. And like I said, I have a hard time buying in if people don't want to do that for them, Yeah. And I was that person. Like I was the kid that had no money and I'd buy one stall and put 2 horses in it at the jackpot. and people were like, "What? They don't hardly fit." It's a 12x12. I got 2 full-grown horses in there, and they're like, I had multiple people. I was like, I didn't know no better, I was like, this is a place for them to sleep. I'm sleeping in the truck.
They got more room than I did.
Yeah. So I don't know. And like I said, that's coming from very humble beginnings and not knowing nutrition and feeding blackberry.
And there's the other end of the spectrum, the some that go overboard the other way.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, they drag all but a Sealy Posturepedic mattress in there into the stall, and then put shavings on top of it. And I'm like, what in the world are we doing?
Yeah, and then they have 400 different supplements for the thing, and
the sucker's glowing.
Yes. And they're feeding him a special oil in the morning, special oil at night. Well, I want him to look shiny. I'm like, well, he's so fat he can't see out his eyes. Like, how do you expect him to work?
Yeah, and I look at things like what's keeping us from winning.
Yes.
That's what I look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't the $500 pad.
Nope.
Now if we did have a pad that's 7 years old, it looks like it needs to be a dog bed. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But it probably wasn't this pad that we can put an egg under it and hit it with a hammer and it doesn't break. It probably wasn't that.
Yep.
And there's just so much money that's wasted oftentimes on marketing gimmicks, I guess you could say, and it could be put towards stuff that it does need to go towards.
Yeah.
But you'll have that in every facet of anything.
Absolutely. And like there's a lot of people want to keep up with the Joneses. They see a guy that's got a Trent Ward, he's got to have a Trent Ward, and it's like, dude, I bought that saddle because it fits all my horses with this tree. It's got this size of gullet. And you're like, and then he buys it and it's way too narrow for his fat horse and, all the stuff. And it's like, I don't know, he's bucking me off. I got him a new saddle, a new pad, a new bit. Like, I'm like, you don't get it.
I've known of people that get a saddle made, fitted for their horse.
When they're 2?
Yeah. And then the horse grows up or it gets fat. And I'm like, hey, that's not going to fit that horse.
No, I bought it. I bought it for him.
And I'm like, that don't make any sense.
And I think they're coming out of a good place in their heart.
They are.
But
it don't make any sense.
It don't make any sense.
And then they say it's expensive. I said, well,
Hey, you're making it a little more expensive for you.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Like, you don't need the $400,000 bloomer. You know, like, you can get by with your 4-horse bumper pull.
Yeah. But we all have to learn. It's just part of the journey.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with all that stuff. You can afford it, do it.
No. And I'm a simple person. I'm very boring.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first times I went to a horse show, and I was at I was going to show in the reining, and I had a horse that it was a started calf horse, but it would do the reining pattern. It'd change leads. I was in Oklahoma City, and I was with another trainer that's been in the industry for quite a while, and I went to put a pad on. My wife stayed at home. That's normally who dresses me and makes sure everything.
I know that feeling.
And I went to and I asked this other trainer, and she's very polite, and I was stalling with her, and she's a seasoned veteran. I said, which pad should I use? And she said, do you have any others? And I said, no. What's wrong with my pads? And apparently I have one that was a roper pad, not a show pad.
Yeah.
Because it had leather on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And those were out.
They were out.
And so she said, well, use that one. That'll work for right now. So I put it on. I said, well, I thought this was judged on, the pattern, not
on the show part.
On the pad.
Yeah.
I said, if that pad keeps me from winning, that'll be the least of my worries.
Yeah. I've been that kid. Like growing up, my parents were always, it's not what you show up in, it's what you beat them with when you pull it out, Yeah. I'd show up in my mom's Suburban with a 3-horse bumper pull we took tack room out of so we could fit 6.
Yeah.
And the horses were saddled by the time we left the house. We might have drove 6 hours, you know. And we load them up and go back home. The axles are bent in the thing, no lights, you know. And I think all that gave me, I don't know, I think it helped me because it's easy to compare, you know, like it's easy to look at the guys that have been doing it a long time or people with money and like, man, I really would like that. You know, and there's nothing wrong with having that and working towards it and getting it for yourself, and I think it's a worthy goal, but you got to be okay with where you're at and what you're learning and what you're trying to achieve. Like, I mean, I showed up to these Futurities at the beginning of the year. I had a best ever pad that I traded actually off of a kid. And I know he had used it for 3 years. It's in my trailer. I rode it on Wayland yesterday, you know. And, you know, I wash them and try to take care of them, but it looks beat.
Yeah.
And I actually had someone gift me a best ever with it was actually the Brent Beach and Donna Irvin and the Total Team Roping when I did some episodes with them. But they gifted me a best ever with a show skirt on it. Yeah. And I wear that everywhere. I'm like, man, this is it, you know. I'm not having to like force the pin through leather anymore, you know. Yeah. And you know, it's funny, you know, we laugh about it, but like I'm like so grateful that I was able to even get that pad, you know, for like the people that believe in me and sponsor me. And like, because without that, like I'm working with a guy right now and he says, you'll never outperform your identity. Yeah. And I think that's very true. Like if you think you're a loser, you think you're poor, you'll never get past that. Right. Yeah. And so when you do see people like give you a little break and stuff, if you're conscious and paying attention, like you're able to change your identity right there. Like people see more value in you than what you show up on or in because they see you show up, you know. And that's something my business partner said too. He's like, I don't care if you win a dime this year. Like we can spend all the money in fees, fuel. He's like, I don't care. What I want you to do is talk to people and this is your year for exposure. And my wife supports me in that, and it's hard to like trust that, right? But like all jokes aside, I don't care. Like I'd show up in an old truck if I had to. I would do whatever it takes because I love the game. I love the horses, and I know this is what God put me on the earth to do. And so I would probably encourage people like, think about that. Like you'll never outperform your identity. Try to what your saddle looks like. Make sure it's taken care of and it's gonna fit your horse or whatever. But like, don't try to be something you're not at the moment. Just do the best you can with what you have. Best horses you have. Like I'm always trying to find a better horse, you know. But the one I've got is good enough until I can either afford or teach it different or help it be more sound, and enjoy that part of it, because you know I'm sure, Jason, you can look back and go, man, I rode some pieces of crap.
I did,
but without that, you know, and we get to look back and every time we say that, we smile, right? Yeah. At the moment, I was ready to kill every one of those things, you know, and they were trying to kill me.
I was just trying to eat.
Yes, I'm trying to stay alive, and I feel like that now. But at the same time, you got to enjoy the season that you're in,
and it is a season,
and not try to beat like Trevor Brazil and Miles Baker. Like I'm gonna try to beat them every time I show up. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like, be okay with learning from them and getting beat and eating a tuna fish out of a can while you're driving down the road, and get to think about it, and don't be scared to change. Don't be scared to ask questions.
That's a big thing. Ask questions.
Yeah.
So many people stop asking questions. That's one of the biggest downfalls of people. They don't ask enough questions.
I'll say right here on the podcast, like, I'm not scared. I'm scared, like, genuinely, my nature is scared to talk to people. And that's something I've had to really work on. My communication skills are crap, you know, and I do have to, you can ask my wife, like, I have to work on that hard, because the little boy inside of me says, they don't want to help you, you know, or I'd say the adversary, you know, something. They don't want to help you. They don't care. You know, they're busy doing their thing. And I'll get caught up to that in the fraternities. Like, I want to talk to him, but I also see, because I'm that way. When I'm focused and wanting to win, like I'm like a pit bull on a pork chop. It's laser focused. And I've found I keep showing up. More people know me by name. And I strive to talk to them and have good conversations. And it doesn't have to be long and deep. And I'm sure they get tired of people asking them questions that aren't as intentional. They're just asking them a question. And there's a lot of people out there that have no problem asking. And they go home and don't do it, you know. But, like, I genuinely want to do it, but the fear sometimes takes over. And it's not the fear to do the work or anything, but it's like, almost a little bit of an intimidation factor. So, like I said, that's something I work on hard is being able to show up, open my mouth, and smile. I'll practice at the gas station now. Like, I'll be walking along, I'm like, who am I going to talk to? Yeah. And I don't have to start it. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, or I'll compliment somebody or like try to find something that puts me uncomfortable.
And I think that's a lot of the horse trainers' nature. A lot of us horse trainers.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I'm terrible at it too. I mean, it's terrible.
We always have good conversations.
Yeah, we do, but it's I mean, at a horse show, I mean, I come out, I kind of like when we go to horse shows, my wife does a lot of the presentation stuff with the non-pros, and if the horses have problems, I'm the horse rider relationship.
Yeah.
I go fix that.
Yeah.
And she handles the presentation. But otherwise, I'm kind of, I've went to horse shows before, and they said, and if they see me showing one, they said, you ride? Like, you show?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, she does a lot of the showing.
Yeah.
You know, but I said, yeah, I train.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand it because I don't show a lot. She does a lot of the showing, does very well at it, does good. Her presentation's great.
Yeah.
And
well, and two, like usually when you're showing one, you're schooling it and fixing it for somebody.
And they're like, man, that guy's always crazy out there.
That's what I was going to say. You know, people that don't really get it think, you know, he's always riding terrible horses, but he's really fixing them for his wife or whoever. You know, he's schooling them, and you know, people don't see that.
No,
you know, they don't understand that.
But that's fine. It's all good. But yeah, going out and visiting with people, and I have other friends in the horse industry. They talk to everybody.
Oh, they're
but
the
I'm
best.
able to be at a horse show and up in the corner of the stands watching the warm-up pen.
Yeah.
I love
You're like,
nerding
man.
out in the warm-up pen.
Yeah, you can
at
watch
midnight,
a horse.
At midnight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's the good stuff.
I'm out there like, man,
Yeah.
I wonder how that horse is bred. You know, like, I like how he moves.
Yeah.
I bet he's this. And then it turns into a game.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. I'm like, oh, that's a bet he's a cat.
Yeah.
That's a own son, a own daughter, career cat. Like,
Yeah.
and then but then here's the other part. Like, I have to go ask.
Yeah.
and and it's almost easier. I'll say this: it's easier to ask me, "Hey, how's your horse bred?"
Yeah.
Than it is to go, "Hey, how's it going? Can you teach me how to be better at what I do? You know what I mean? How to train a horse? You know, what's your secrets?" Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're probably very willing, and they are. There's a lot of great guys out there in the industry, but I you know, it's what holds a lot of people back. You know, I think just being uncomfortable it's good.
It is. It goes with the territory sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, do you have anything else to ask?
Well, you know, I was going to say, you know, I mean, I put a horse in training with Jayde, and for those people that are looking for somebody to do that for a rope horse trainer, like, I couldn't be more pleased with the job that he did. And back to the feeding thing that he was talking about earlier, like, I sent him a horse that, you know, we went through a pretty rough winter, and you know, he I mean, I'm not going to say he was poor, but you know, he looked a little rough, and Jayde rode the crap out of him, and the horse come back looking awesome, and you know, not just the feeding, but the way he rode him, you know, because I wanted to say, when you were talking about the feed earlier, you know, you don't make them fat with it.
No.
I mean, they look like a ball of muscle.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just because the horse came back, you know, I mean, not to mention the fact that he takes the time to send you anywhere from 8 to 14 videos, which I love.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at my phone right now, and I have most of them saved on my phone, and voiceover that week. And you know, I mean, some people don't do that, and that's fine. But for me, that was just, the little extra, and I appreciated. I mean, I didn't have to have it.
Yeah.
But he did it, and I thought he did a very good job. So I wanted to throw that out there.
It's easy to do a good job on a good horse, you know?
Yeah.
Well, which I got from Jason.
He's a good horse, but yeah, I mean, I don't say that too. Like, there's a difference between being fed good and athletic and obese. Like you can pour so much grain to them, like where they look great, but I don't like seeing that in people, and I don't like seeing that in horses. You know what I mean? Like I don't think a fat horse looks good.
Yeah.
I don't want to see ribs, but I want to see an athlete. That's what they're born and bred to do, is be athletic.
Yep.
They're not bred to be a sausage patty in a feedlot. Like, I mean, they're just a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming over here. I think you leave out in the morning.
Yeah, I'll leave them off.
For the long drive. Wow.
And you just blink and go.
Yeah, no, it's not a blink. I've made it many times. Yeah, many times. But thanks for sitting down with us. And I'm glad we got to get together. Chris got to join us again. I'm glad to get to do it again. It's been a minute, and I hope to put a lot more on there. Get some more going here before long, and hopefully we'll have some more topics to hit on here in the upcoming months, and we won't wait so long before we put some more out. But anyway, it's been a good one. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jayde.
Yes, sir.
And we'll talk to you guys next time.